So, by 2010, Taylor Swift has established herself as a bit of a pop sensation, with multiple songs topping the charts and becoming international hits. In particular, it was Love Story and You Belong With Me, which at the time were basically unescapable. Debut had some hits as well, but it was her sophomore album Fearless which landed her the incredible achievement of Album of the Year at the Grammys. But life was not sunshine and rainbow. It was also during that same Grammy ceremony, while Taylor was accepting her award for Best Music Video, that Kanye West took to the stage to announce that in his opinion, Beyoncé should have won instead, making both women visibly uncomfortable. This experience severely impacted Taylor, who's been quoted to say that in this moment, she didn't think that the crowd was booing Kanye, she thought they were booing her. Back in the day, in the media circuit, despite being America's sweetheart, she would receive a lot of criticism. She started getting accused of not writing any of her songs like she claimed she did, and given that Taylor had built her career basically off of singing diaristic songs that would chronicle her experience as a teenage girl, that kind of accusation would sound super unfair to everyone who knew what they were talking about, including Taylor. Suffice it to say that the expectations for her next album were quite high. But what she actually did was not what anyone had expected. On October 25th, 2010, Taylor releases Speak Now, her new and completely self-written album. The songs here are more introspective than they have ever been before, with many of them crossing over the 5-minute mark, making the whole album very long. She has since expressed that while creating the album, she believed that she had important things to say and that she was the only person who could say it on basically her own behalf. That's why she wanted to write it on her own, and she wanted to say those things before it was too late. Hence the name Speak Now. The sound of this album leans surprisingly into pop rock. Side note, I do see a lot of people, including myself in the past, wanting Taylor to make a pop rock album, but there she is. That's the pop rock album. It also features quite a couple of ballads and songs that I would not describe as very radio friendly, and indeed, despite this being a Taylor Swift album, I would say it has not sparked massive hits. Comparatively speaking, of course, because at this point she was already too big to fail, but there was no song on this album that could really rival something like Love Story. I would say that at the time of its release, Mean was the greatest hit of the record, but I don't think that it was really indicative of the themes or even really the sound of the album. This is why when I initially first went into this album back in the day, I knew almost nothing about it compared to the other ones, where it really seems like the singles precede it, maybe with the exception of Debut. I do remember back in the day thinking with my full chest that if Sparks Fly was chosen as the single instead of Mean, she would have won Album of the Year again, and she would be number one everywhere. But as it turns out, Sparks Fly was a single along with other songs that I would definitely also pick. So Mine and The Story of Us. So maybe I was wrong. But then again, she also put out Back to December and Ours, which kind of leveled it out. If you want to learn a thing or two about the album, you just have to take a look at the cover. It features some very scribbly writing and Taylor herself with her massive blonde curls spinning around in a purple gown. Purple being the color of the era, and I realized I forgot to mention last video, but it's okay because we all know that Fearless is yellow or gold, whatever. But this time it's purple. But yeah, the cover spells it out perfectly. We have princess, we have gowns, we have sparkles, and we have unreadable writing. Also, I've been told, if you zoom in on the cover it is actually not a photo but a painting. Oh, and you guys need to prepare for the masterpiece that is the back cover. Joran said, make sure that nobody can read that. Graphic design is my passion. So I called in a favor from a graphologist, and I can now read to you the tracks on the original edition of Speak Now, and they were, of course, Mine, Sparks Fly, Back to December, Speak Now, Dear John, Mean, The Story of Us, Never Grow Up, Enchanted, Better Than Revenge, Innocent, Haunted, Last Kiss, and Long Live. And there is so much I want to talk about already, because there's so much tea, but we're gonna have to save it for the bit at the end where I'm actually ranking the songs and I deep dive into each one of them. Like she is well known to do, she later released a second edition of the album, a deluxe edition, and this time with a red colorway, which is a possible Easter egg for the next era, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, that's for next month. So this is the back cover of the one with more songs, and you can tell that on this one they 100% already regretted the way that they designed this, but it was too late to back out, and so they just had to keep adding to it. So I'm highlighting purple on purple so you can see better. You're welcome. But this one, aside from some pop versions, which I'm not even gonna be ranking, we have 3 additional songs, which are Ours, If This Was a Movie, I Know We'll Get There, and Superman. Okay, and I don't think I did a good enough job at describing just how iconic the year of 2008 was last time in terms of movies, and 2010 is also interesting because it brings in some classics and also some of the lowest rated movies ever made. And by movies, I of course mean The Last Airbender in 3D apparently, okay. They also made the Percy Jackson movie, which was a disappointing adaptation, but actually, this movie is actually really good. We also have Inception, which I don't even know why I put this on the board, but it seemed important. Toy Story 3 is also here, and I'm actually wearing Toy Story 3 themed socks as I write this. We also have Easy A on here, which I decided we must include because we will be circling back to talking about Emma Stone later on in this video. So, it's interesting to see what she is up to in 2010. Also the Final Shrek, or the Final Shrek so far. I actually saw that one in the cinema. I also saw Tangled, which is a classic. Also Despicable Me 1. We also have How to Train Your Dragon, which is one of the best movies ever made. And Iron Man 2 in 2010. Crazy how they only made 2 MCU movies across 2008 to 2010. And nothing else. The next thing we definitely must discuss when it comes to this album is the aesthetics. These are the things that the fandom associates with Speak Now the album, regardless of what themes are actually in the text itself on the actual song. And these are fireworks. These show up everywhere. We have all types of gowns. We have sheet music, letters, dragons, scrolled writing, tulle, and other stuff like that. Purple stars, annotated books, and castles. For the actual official visuals for the album, we got 5 music videos initially, and they were Mine, Mean, Back to December, Ours, and The Story of Us. Now moving on to my favorite part of the analysis, and one that I honestly struggled with the most in this album, and that is the frequent motifs. This is where I go through the actual text of the album and try to pick out individual words and themes that show up more than others. So here are the ones that I found. We have eyes or seeing. This one's kind of obvious. Then we have cars and cars related words, which in one form or another has shown up on this list on every single one of the albums. Wondering or dreaming, which I decided to count into one category because whatever. Sparks is just a word I used for all kinds of lights. The word sparks is just more significant here because there is a song called Sparks Fly, and I also counted mentions of fireworks into here. Then I have family, rain, which is another one that keeps coming back. Most important one perhaps, given how much it feeds into the way that this album is viewed in retrospect. Themes of basically anything related to royalty, so I counted swords, castles, queens, and even Cleopatra, whatever. And I actually found that there was way more of these than I thought that there would be. Games is an interesting one, I think. I was proud of myself for noticing that one, even though it's just 3 times. And finally, we have books and stories. Some honorary mentions, though, were the month of September being mentioned twice in Back to December and Innocent. The concept of being haunted showing up in Sparks Fly and Haunted, and someone's guard being up in Sparks Fly and Back to December. And now we can move on to the Taylor's version of Speak Now, which was released on July 7th, 2003. It was the third of the re-recordings to be released. It is comically long, coming in at 1 hour, 40 minutes and 33 seconds, so it's basically like a feature film. And the promotional song for this was I Can See You, which actually got a music video this time, which is far more than you can say about You All Over Me from Fearless TV. The cover is just a picture of her in a different purple dress, no text. And then the back of this is a cute picture of her, and you will not believe this, readable text. Obviously featuring extra songs on the album, which are of course the vault tracks. Also, if in the ranking part of this video you're like, what about the acoustic songs from the deluxe edition of this album? Why are you talking about these? Why are you not ranking these? I don't care, okay? She doesn't even care about them. She didn't even re-record them. It's fine. From the vault, we have 6 songs: Electric Touch, When Emma Falls in Love, I Can See You, Foolish One, and Timeless. Speak Now Taylor's version is also the re-recording project that has the most obvious differences, or at least one that it is impossible not to talk about, which is her changing the lyric from Better Than Revenge, from she's better known for the things that she does on the mattress, to he was a moth to the flame, she was holding the matches. And personally, I don't really mind the difference. If she wanted to change it because she didn't feel like the old one represented her worldview anymore, then it is fine that she changed it. I have also noticed that there is a man's voice on mine, which I don't think is there on the original. And I think that Dear John is quite different musically, which I'm bringing up because it's crazy that I noticed. It has to be a big difference since I noticed this one. Now for the Era Store. And I think that Speak Now on the Era Store is a bone of contention for a lot of people, specifically because we have been robbed. There are 2 different versions of the tour, of course, pre and after Tortured Poets, and in both of them, Speak Now does not get her flowers, which is ironic because the performance is themed after purple flowers and stuff. This is mostly a standing set with not really any dancing. You get the impression that she really needed to put in a segment where she could just calm down for a minute because she's doing all that stuff for 3 hours. That is not to say that she's like phoning it in or anything like that. She does her best. It's just she can't do a lot of dancing in this giant gown. Great gowns, beautiful gown. Okay, let's talk about the first version, which was already dead to rise, having to follow Reputation. In the first version, she comes out and does Enchanted, which is nice, and then that's followed by Long Live on the Koi Fish guitar, which is, can I just say, the song to perform at the Era Store. It is the quintessential Taylor Swift hand-hard indoctrination anthem. It has to be sung at the Era Store. It just makes sense. Like when she sings, how we spend our life on the sidelines wishing for right now, she is literally surrounded by people who she knows have dreamed of this moment, and it's just really special. I would cry. I love the way she says, "This is absurd," and that look on her face, and the line, "I'm not afraid," because she really is not afraid. That's cute. Anyway, second version. Taylor Swift hates her. She had her follow All 10 Well too. So anyway, she cut Longlev. And I know that Enchanted is the new hit song from Speak Now, but I still think she should have done Long Live instead. It's just for this specific instance, it may... And like, I personally remember Mean being the most well-known song from this, and it's not like we're doing that. At the very least, she could have kept the ending of Long Live with Tell 'em How the Crowds Went Wild, da. Anyway, Enchanted is cute, and there's a lot of flowers. Also, I love the dress from this recording. Great gowns, beautiful gowns. Speak Now, also known as the era so brief on the tour that she had to include the intermission in the movie. And Dani's reputation, oh, she hates her guts. Okay, and this is it for this part of the video, and right now we're going into the ranking portion. Yay! So here we are at the ranking portion of the video, and I, right off the bat, need to make some disclaimers, because it's YouTube and you need to make disclaimers, and that is that this is a subjective ranking, and if you like a song that I hate, or if you hate the song that I like, it's fine. We can all be friends and get along and bake cupcakes and sunshine. And also, this is by no means trying to be an objective ranking of the songs, because I cannot do that. I don't have the credentials to do that. This is very subjective, and it's going to become very clear to you that it is very, very subjective, okay? I have opinions, and this is me ranking them based on my own enjoyment of the songs, not how good I think they are. So there we go. That's the disclaimer. We can get into this. And I need to tell you that this album was kind of difficult to listen to in full, especially in one sitting, because it's just so long. So I don't know, I feel like there's some songs that I'm not 100% sure on yet, but I think I've come to the most reasonable conclusion now. I think I know what I'm doing. So what's going to happen now is that I'm going to rank all these songs, and we have these categories, and in every one there's different points, and the S tier is just for like my absolute top favorite songs of all time that I would have her sing as my surprise songs, you know what I mean? But they have points, and then at the end we're going to add all of those points up and divide them by the amount of songs, and that's going to give us my rating for Speak Now, and we're going to be able to compare that with my ratings for Fearless and Debut, and that's the point of the video. Okay, so we're gonna start at the beginning, which makes sense, and we're going to start with Mine. Mine is a more grounded song about a relationship, but it's still very happy. She immediately makes it clear with this album that we are out of the fairy tale of Fearless by mentioning things like working tables and college and having to pay bills, which she doesn't really have to worry about, but it's nice of her to pretend. It's about overcoming these struggles by sticking together with your partner, which is a lot more of like a real topic than anything on her previous records. She's also gone from 2 a.m. to 2:30 a.m., which is a great change. On top of that, the song just kind of feels fresh. When I turned it on March 1st, I immediately felt like it's a new beginning. It is also coincidentally the best song ever made, and I am putting it in A tier because that's where she belongs. So this is the closest thing so far that we have to the S tier. It's going to A tier, but it's really, really close. Every line on the song is good. Every choice works. And the topic is simple, that's the thing. It's just about being captivated by somebody, right? And being in love. But this song just makes it so special. It's just so good. I go crazy listening to the song. I love the Leader of the Stairwell callback with Lead Me Up the Staircase, which in Taylor Swift canon, if you didn't know, is the second most romantic thing after trucks. Also, whenever I go to type this song title on my phone, it suggests me the fly emoji. So, A tier. B is for Back to December. And also for kind of boring. This song surprises me every time by either being more boring than I thought it was gonna be, or by being so good in comparison to what I was expecting. So it's hard to place. It's a fun song to yell, and I think it's also interesting in comparison to things like Should Have Said No from Debut or Forever and Always from Fearless, because in this angry song, or that's not even angry, but it's just fun to yell, in this song she places herself in the role of the one in the wrong, and the whole song is her apologizing to her ex for breaking things off and breaking his heart, and suggesting that they could try again. And I do think that this is a very well written song.
You are an excellent waterbender.
But you still won't teach me, will you?
No.
So this lands in a kind of awkward spot where I don't really reach for it, but when it comes up a lot of the time, I actually realize that I do kind of like it. So it's going to be Speak Now. This is such a wee little song, and also a bizarre title track choice, but I love it. It honestly reminds me of stuff like Folklore, give me a moment, in the sense that it's just like a little vignette of a fictional story, and in the story Taylor basically goes into a church and interrupts a wedding because she's in love with a guy, and the guy is in love with her, so I don't know why he's marrying someone else, but whatever. And the whole album is supposed to be Speaking Now or Forever Holding Her Peace, which is obviously taken from a wedding ceremony. But it is kind of strange that in an album that is so focused on expressing your deepest feelings, the title track is like the last 10 minutes of rom-com. But I'm having a great time. The only other thing that I want to say about this is that the line should be dressed in pastels and not dressed in pastel. This is a B tier song, but you'd be surprised how close this is to being to an A. Now after Speak Now, she sits you down and it's like, okay, let's be serious actually. And here, sit down and be serious. We're talking about Dear John. This is the track 5. The original All 10 Well. So this song is about her relationship with John Mayer, who was 32 years old while she was 19 and when they dated. And it's just so visceral is how I can describe it. It's truly one of her best written songs ever, and by the end you just feel this catharsis. And I genuinely can't imagine how she felt re-recording this in her 30s. The title is also really clever, since she gets away with using his actual name John by using the phrase Dear John, which is this letter written to a man by his previous lover. This song truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame of Taylor Swift songs. And writing this, it feels like I should 100% put this in A tier. And if I was going to be objective, I would have to put it in A or even in S. But this is my very subjective ranking, and I am generally not emotionally strong enough to just keep listening to this song over and over. And because of that, because it's like a song that makes me sad and angry, and that's what it wants to do, but still, those are the emotions that I feel. I don't listen to it as much because it's like an event when you sit down to listen to it, right? So I'm going to be putting it into B because I guess that's my truth, but I do acknowledge that it is probably objectively the best song on the album. What a weird one, right? Very yeehaw, and for that it stands out on the album, especially with the accent that she makes for this song and like only this song. And I love that, by the way. I love that she's doing an accent. But like, this is a song that she could have released at any point in her career up to this point, And I'm kind of surprised that this is the one that blew up. Also, the music video is kind of strange. It's a clapback song to have haters, and it also coincidentally kind of slaps. I'm sorry, I just can't hate on fun. Every time this comes up on shuffle, I'm like, oh, it's mean. But I'm like, actually, I'm kind of into this. She's like, you're just a hater and you're a loser. All you do is be mean to me. And also you're pathetic and a liar and racist. Also, I really like the metaphor wildfire lies. I think it's really, really good. It's also interesting in retrospect because when she sings, someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me, we now know that she did become that big. So it's interesting. So I'm gonna put this in B. But guys, do you think that when she says story, she actually means song? Can I just put this in A and not explain it? It's just so good. What do you want me to say? She sings about a relationship falling apart and she uses a framing of a story to do so. Perfect song. Never grow up. Now why would you write that? This song is about not wanting to be an adult and wanting to be a child, and how everyone will die and you will die and so will your loved ones, and it makes me cry and I can't listen to it. So it's going to D, which is the sad tier. Too sad for me to listen to it. Fun fact, back in the day when I first decided it's time to actually sit down and listen to all Taylor Swift songs, I looked up a playlist with all of the songs and I pressed play on shuffle and this song came up and I listened to it and I was like, I think that's enough Taylor Swift for today. But like, it's really funny now because I put on her playlist and she just threw kryptonite at me. Going to Enchanted Crying anyway. So I have two main thoughts about this song, and they are: one, I want to love this song because it's so good, and two, this song is so freaking long. Like 4 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, I think I got everything that I needed out of this song. And then it goes on for like 2 more minutes, and it's a good song too. And I would say that it used to be my favorite one on the album, and honestly one of my favorite songs of hers ever. I mean, I did only know this one and Mean from this album, but still. I love the topic of the song about having a crush, meeting someone for the first time, trying to figure out what the deal is. And I do get really into it when I start listening to it, but then it just goes on and on and on, and I start enjoying it less. So at one point I had to look around the room and kind of admit to myself that I can't say that this is my favorite song from the album, or my favorite song from Taylor Swift. Like, a couple of years ago, I would sit here and put this in S, and I would be lying to you if I did that right now. Because right now it's more of a B. Which is weird to say, but it is more of a B. I'm so sorry, but this is my favorite song on the album. I don't stand for it, and Taylor has disavowed its message, basically. And we all know that this is not the way we actually think, okay? We all know that a girl can't steal a guy from you, and Taylor knows that too. She just happened to write the best song of all time with that subject matter. And I truly believe that if this situation happened to Taylor now, she would make a song coming after the guy instead. But let's talk about the song itself. This is where the biggest change in the re-recording happens, and like I mentioned, I don't really have a preferred one. The new one is just nicer. I think the OG works better for me, not because of the change or anything, but because she sounds genuinely mad. Like, she full-chestedly believes that we should just go and egg this girl's house. And in the new one, she's more like playing a character, which makes sense now. This song has some insane ad-libs too, like the one where she just goes, no, no, no. And the one where she just says, you know you deserve it. I listened to this song so many times before I noticed that one too. This song is a gift that just keeps on giving and taking from Feminine. This is the one song that I'm the most conflicted on. I keep adding this to my playlist and then taking it out of my playlist and then adding it to my playlist again. This one is so hard to explain, and one of those things where I can't separate the context from it, because, and that's not really a problem for me with any of the other songs, right? I don't need to know who the song is about, and I don't think about whoever it is. When I listen to them, I think about my own thing. But this song is basically an I forgive you letter to Kanye West after that incident, which is a hurdle I seldom get past when I'm listening to this song. And it doesn't work for us in the present day for obvious reasons. But also, I don't think it works as, like, in context back in the day an olive branch, since it veers really, really closely to the line of being kind of condescending, right? Like, wow, you're 30 and you're still acting like a child. But hey, you're growing up. But then the bridge is nice, and I do sometimes manage to separate this from the context, and then it becomes like this encouraging, it's not a yet song, and that's kind of sweet, I guess. So this is the very bottom of C. Haunted is one of those songs that I feel like I should like way more. Weirdly, this is a song where the music carries it more than the lyrics, because the lyrics in a lot of places are just kind of fine and almost feel like placeholder lyrics, like just a bunch of non sequiturs, and it's about the relationship going south and losing another person. That's basically it. And I'm also not a fan of basically the empty bridge, but the music provides the actual haunted vibes, and it's so emo. I love the way she says, I thought I had you figured out at the end, and her voice goes up and down. I don't know how to describe singing. I just can't summon in myself any more passion for this song. That sounds actually really good. And I feel like somewhere out there is a Swiftie whose favorite song is Haunted, and they are the most interesting person in the world. Last Kiss is a song that Taylor describes as one of the saddest songs she has ever written, but it's not about getting old so good. It details a relationship that is no more. Really puts it all into the emotional part of the performance in this one, like when she says, "Why did you go away?" And you can hear her lose her composure a little bit, and the way she says, "just like our last kiss" at the end. I was also wondering for a second why she said 158 specifically, but then I realized that 5 and 8 add up to 13, so her mind. So this is a BTS song for me. Like I have previously mentioned, this is the Swiftie anthem. This is the song that plays when they swear you in, okay? So it would feel inadequate not to rate this song highly, and if you catch me on the right day, in the right mood, I can get really emotional about it, but I'm not the biggest fan of this song. It's just, this one is another one of these songs that is just so long, so it just feels like such a commitment to sit down and listen to it, you know what I mean? Which sounds kind of stupid, but it definitely makes me listen to this song not as often. I do remember back in the day, this used to come on shuffle all the time when I was in the shower for some reason. I don't know why. This song reminds me, and you have to stay with me here, of this one Dan and Phil promotional video back from when they released the book that they made called The Amazing Phil Is Not on Fire. And they put out the trailer for it, in which this little girl was walking through a futuristic house, and she finds the book, and her grandma is there, and the grandma has whiskers on her face, which is a thing. And when I watched this video when I was 14-ish, I remember feeling for the first time that there is a chance that my faves will die before I do, which is a crazy realization to have as a child. And this is kind of how this song makes me feel, because it kind of touches on similar topics. It does bring up some questions though, because I was not a Swiftie back in the day, so I'm genuinely asking this. Did Swifties ever really have a reputation of like rebels and thieves? in ripped up jeans and stuff. I wouldn't think so, but it's not like I would know, so tell me. Also, the way she says baseball cap goes hard. There's so many moments in this song where I'm just like, give this woman an Oscar. Like, again, the way she says this is absurd, the way she sings long, long live, you really get the sense of this gratitude that she feels for her fans. But for the reasons I explained, we'll have to put this in C. But it's like very, very top of C. So this is where the standard edition ends, and we're moving on to the deluxe tracks. And the first one is Hours. Hours is a very cutesy song about being in love and staying together despite everyone in your life telling you shouldn't be together. So the song starts with Taylor on the elevator, and she complains that nobody is talking to her, and I don't know if it's the European in me, but that is incomprehensible. I do not want people in the elevator who I don't know to be talking to me, making small talk. That's nightmare. Also, of course, the stairs were vacant, Taylor. They took the elevator. This is another one of these songs that I can't separate from the context, because this is a song about being in love with John Mayer that comes on this album after Dear John. And at this point, I will not get bought into this relationship and why it's the best thing ever. She herself said that she agrees that she shouldn't have dated this guy, and that the people here who are telling her not to date him were right. But in this song, she just sounds so convinced that things will work out and that no one knows it like her. It's like she wrote a song about the earth being flat, and then she was like, no, actually, it's not flat. And now we're all like, okay, so we all agree, it's not flat. And then it just feels like this song should be redacted, right? But it's not. I don't know why. I just can't get over it with this one song specifically. It just gets under my skin. I just can't ignore it. The dread, right? It's like watching someone open a rave catering business in February 2020. And even when you do move on from the real life stuff and start thinking about the relationship as like a fictional one in a vacuum, she still describes the other person as having a pretty little mind, which just sounds so mean. I don't know. It always hits me weird. The line "people throw rocks at things that shine" is really smart though. I'm going to have to appreciate that one. Also, I have recently seen people who have reframed the song and choose to listen to it as if it was a pride song about a queer relationship. So persevering together despite people being judgmental, and that's a sweet thing, and I never considered that, right? I never considered Hours Can Be Yuri. Maybe I am a bad person. If this was a movie. This song is so annoying, and I need to talk about it for way longer than I want to, but okay. I'm sure we have all noticed the elephant in the room here, okay? This song I have stapled on here, just like she has stapled it onto Fearless TV, because that's where she put it initially. That's where it is. But it is a song from Speak Now Deluxe. It came out with that initially. So that's where I'm ranking it. It's a Speak Now song in my books. This is a song that she released in between Fearless and Speak Now, so then she put it on the deluxe of Speak Now because that's what makes sense at the time. But then she put it on Fearless on the re-recordings, and she never, I don't think, explained officially why she did that, but the best explanation that I have personally come across was that she really wanted to be able to say that this album, this whole re-recording was self-written, which like go off, right? But this one song she actually co-wrote with people, right? This one random song, and that is honestly not worth not being able to say that this album is entirely self-written for. So she just snuck it onto Fearless and thought we wouldn't notice, but we did notice. But I'm willing to give that to her, okay? I'm just going to rank it here. I just don't get the scenario, okay? In my mind, and I can't get this interpretation out of my head, it's that they had a fight, And then she locked him out, and then he just wandered off into the forest for 6 months. And this is where the song is set. Imagine if he showed back up and said, "You're sorry." And then he was like, "Well, what are you talking about? That's what you said to say in the song." This is a C-tier debut song, okay? This one's just for me. This is about being in love with Superman because it's just so cool. This hit #1 in both the Lane and the Luthor households. And he was streaming out of spite. What do you think, Lex?
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it.
Okay. I want her to write a song about every superhero. I want to hear what she has to say. I want to hear the interpretations, right? Like tall, dark, and Hulk. Also, I wonder which Superman she's referencing. With bad reputation? Well, reputation mentioned, but also, I think people just think he's a nice guy, in and out of universe. So what is she talking about? Also, this song randomly contains one of her most insane lyrics. "I hope you don't save some other girl" is crazy. Like, I know she's in a building that's on fire, but she's still a girl, so I would be jealous. This song was made for me, so it has to be in B. My honest reaction to this song was, "Taylor, this is nothing." I feel like at first the production just feels like a straight line, just all the same. It kind of sounds like an end of a bad movie dance party. But then I kind of realized,
perhaps I treated you too harshly.
And honestly, now I get it. It took me long, but I proudly admit I get it. And I'm putting this in B. It just says, "This could either break my heart or bring it back to life," in all caps in my nose. And I agree. She also goes hard on the word headlights for some reason. A lot of car stuff in this song. And we're doing so well too, not mentioning cars. I do admit it is funny how low the stakes are compared to the music. Like, they are literally just going to hang out. And that's the song. And it ends with him arriving at her house at 8:05, which is 13 again. Her mind. When Emma falls in love. This is a song about how Emma Stone is so cool. And I have never met her personally, so I can't attest to that, but I agree. This used to be my favorite Vault track from Speak Now. And all I have to say that the Cleopatra line is simply for the people who get it, and I got it immediately. So this is top of B, only after Dear John. I can see you. This was another like, wait, I get it moment for me. Because the first thing I wrote down was, this has everything going for it, and I still think it's just okay. But I have changed since, okay? This is just a very cool song about having a secret relationship, and I will tell you, this is better than I Know Places. And it is, like, in A. Long Live Bad Ending. This song is so unique. And I feel like I see nobody talking about it. And I think that we should. Not necessarily because it's like so good, but because it's just such a weird song for her to have. And I think it's very revealing. Also, I forgot to mention earlier on that this and Electric Touch are both collabs. And Taylor actually gives her collaborators full verses, which is progress. At the same time, I do feel like this is a bit of a weird use of Hayley Williams. The more I listen to this song, the more I like it. In this song, Taylor puts herself in the role of a fantasy anti-hero, which kind of reminds me of Who's Afraid of Little Me, which, spoiler alert, is one of my favorite songs of all time. This is not on that level, but it is a protoplast of it. I feel like this could have been so much better if the melody wasn't just like fine. But I do understand what she's going for. And I am putting this in B tier. My notes on this song are as follows. Why is this over 5 minutes? And this might grow on me. And it did. This song is so cutesy, which annoyed me at first, but now I'm vibing with it. I think the chorus summed it up perfectly. Foolish one, stop checking your mailbox for confessions of love. That ain't never gonna come. You'll take the long way down. This song grew on me so much. It's an A tier in the same way that Mr. Perfectly Fine is A tier. This song is just so sweet, you almost can't help but like it. And of course, I also do love it. It's a sentimental song about being in love in every universe, in every timeline. And it's also for the hoarders. I'm not gonna explain that, but it's for the hoarders. Also Romeo and Juliet mentioned. So there we have it. Is my ranking of Speak Now with all of the songs included. And if we tally all of the points up, we will get 93 points total, which seems like a lot, but I did the math like 10 times. So it's 93 divided by 23, which gives us 404. And if we turn that into a percent, we get 81%, which means that Speak Now is officially on top in this ranking, because Debut and Fearless are below it. Let's give it up for Speak Now. Let's see where it lands at the very end. Also, just to be thorough, I tallied up the rankings for different versions of this, just to see where it goes, and it was also interesting. I'm going to pop it on screen right now, and the actual rating is kind of in the middle, just like last time. So this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, subscribe and leave a comment and like, and do a headstand. Don't do it actually if you can't. And have an amazing day. Have an amazing day. Have fun. I hope you see a cat and that you like that. And we'll see you later. Bye.